There's a saying in Senegal, it is the hunter who always beats the lions because it is the hunter who always tells the story. Doudou Diene has spent a lifetime telling the other side of the story. He exposes racism around the globe and promotes intercultural dialogue and understanding. Dr. Diene holds several degrees in law and political science. After years with UNESCO, he was appointed a UN Special Rapporteur on contemporary forms of racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, and related intolerance. He was appointed UN expert on human rights in Côte d'Ivoire and served the Commission of Inquiry on Gaza. In 2017, the President of France asked him to help lead the public mission on the memory of slavery treaties and their abolition. And in 2018, the President of the UN Human Rights Council appointed him Chair of the Commission of Inquiry on Burundi. Please welcome Dr. Doudou Diene.
Thank you, Michael. It is a very important day in the present context, and I would like to highlight three challenges of the context which makes this day so important. One, I think we all have to keep in mind that we are in the COVID era. And I think that this pandemic is teaching us two key lessons which are highly important for education, for peace. One, the pandemic is teaching us a very fundamental lesson of the unity of life, that all dimensions of life are very closely linked. Second message, it is a message of solidarity, that we cannot get out of this pandemic without being united and supporting each other. Knowing that what we do for ourselves to protect ourselves will protect others, and in the same way what the others do protect us. So these two very key lessons, unity of life, solidarity of human beings, are two fundamental values which we should promote through education. But what is the meaning of education in the present day context? Another challenge is that we are living in a neoliberalism context, which is that the market is the main dynamic force which is trying to shape our ideas, our behaviors, our culture, our values. And it is highly important to develop another values, which is putting the emphasis on education, on human values, not on the material values of the market. So it means that the neoliberalism context brings us to come back to a very important concept in UNESCO Constitution, which is the moral and the intellectual solidarity of mankind. Moral is ethical, and intellectual is mean we have to think that solidarity and construct it. So another dimension which is trying to be integrated in this day is the fact that we are living in a multicultural societies, that geography and history have brought all societies to become profoundly multicultural. It means that we have to face the challenge of cultural identity, how to link the necessity to recognize the singularity of specific communities, their identity, while promoting the unity of the society and developing values which may promote the dialectic between unity and diversity. So this challenge is very central in education. So which means that the ultimate challenge for us in the COVID era, in the challenge of the market domination, the challenge is to promote education for human values. Education for human values in multicultural setting means that we have to recognize that multicultural setting bring us something important, which is what I call the tension identity. It means that in multicultural settings, we have multiple identities living together in the same territories. So the challenge is to recognize this the singularity of the multicultural identities while promoting the unity of life, of the unity of the society. So in this very important day, I think what is at the core of our reflection should be how to revive the UNESCO Constitution, where the central concept which founding fathers have brought. You remember that they came out of World War II, traumatized by Holocaust and the denial of humanity. And they drafted this constitution. And at the core of the constitution, they put the centrality of the spirit, that since war begins in the minds of men, it is in the minds of men that the defenses of peace must be constructed, which means that education for human values have to integrate the importance of the spirit. This is why, in conclusion, I would like to remind that we have to revisit the concept of culture. Culture should be integrating three key dimensions which are forgotten. The aesthetic, which is the first level of perception of culture, the creation, the object, etc. The first perception. But we know that culture has to be deepened to ethic. What are the human values behind this aesthetic, this form and expressions? And it is only when we touch on the ethical values that we touch on the people. And the third one is a spiritual dimension. It is a transcendence, the dimension of death and life, the finality of life, the sense of life. So education should integrate these three dimensions of culture: aesthetic, ethic, and spiritual. Unfortunately, the market promotes only the aesthetic dimension of culture, what can be consumed. We have to bring back the ethic and the spiritual dimension. So we are, I think, in a very challenging period. And this is where the appeal of UNESCO Constitution, moral and intellectual solidarity is very actual. Thank you very much.